Hello, this is Daniela from Sewing for a Living. In this video I'm going to show you how I've altered the sleeves and the color of this dress. I've done this alteration because the style was a little bit too vintage for my taste. But you can use this tutorial to alter the size of sleeves and color, whatever your reason is. So let's begin. What I need to do first is to remove the collar and the sleeves completely. I need to remove the cuffs and any remaining gathering so I could work on the sleeves. I'm going to start with the collar. When I removed the collar, my first intention was to make the neckline a bit lower and top stitch. Then I realized that it actually matches nicely with the cuffs and belt, so I've decided to leave it, just make it a bit smaller. What I need to do next is remove the sleeves, and I was happy to see that they've been attached in a circle, so I don't have to break the side seam, just detach the sleeves. I'm going to work on the sleeves first. I've prepared the sleeve detail from another pattern that I have and I'm going to use it to replicate the curve. Usually I would prefer a pattern for woven fabric if I work on wovens or pattern for knitted fabric if I alter knits. In this case there is no difference between front and back bodies, so I am using a pattern without a difference in front and back curve. Also, I am using a pattern for a shorter sleeve, so I need to increase the length. To achieve this, I am going to draw a straight line down. I always like to measure before I cut, so I am using the cuff to see if there is any need to change the width. My sleeve turned out to be too wide at the hemline, so I am going to take it in. I am careful to leave some seam allowance. I might leave it a bit wider if I want to keep some of the gathering. I don't want to restrict the movement of the arm too much, so this is what I'm going to do. We need to check if everything is correct before we cut, so what I'm going to do is measure if the length of the sleeve curve matches the length of the armhole curve. The sleeve measures 6.5 inches. The armhole curve turned out to be 7.5 inches, which is a difference of an inch. So I need to work on the sleeve a bit more. What I'm going to do is extend the length without changing the curve. I'm going to redraw the whole curve a bit lower so that I have enough fabric for the new curve. I'm adding that missing inch to the width of the sleeve and then connect the end of the curve with the end of the hem. What's left for me to do here is cut out the new shape of the sleeve. Once again, I'm going to check if the new curve of the sleeve matches the armhole precisely. And it does, so I'm using this new sleeve as a pattern for the second one. To change the shape and size of the collar, I need to turn it inside out. I'm going to pin both layers of the collar together so that everything stays in place. I am marking the new width of the collar at 2 inches. Don't forget to leave seam allowance in addition to the width you want. I'm going to serge it so my seam allowance is not big. You should know that collars are usually not sewn on sergers, but I'm being lazy and doing the whole altering on one machine only. Here are both details of the collar closed at the bottom. I also made the side seam of the sleeves and attached the cuffs. The final step would be to assemble everything back in place. But before I do that, I should go and iron all new seams so they look better. To attach the sleeves back in place, first I'm going to mark the center of the sleeve. Then I'm going to pin the sleeve to the armhole, starting at the side seams. Next, I align the center of the sleeve to the shoulder seam. The rest of the sleeve I distribute to the armhole. Use as many pins as you need to secure everything in place. The sleeve matched beautifully, so I'm going to do the same with the other one. Once I'm ready, I will sew the sleeves back in place. The last thing I need to do is put back the collar. I'm going to pin it in place as I did with the sleeves. First at the center back and then at the center front. While I'm pinning, I'm careful to go through all 3 layers of fabric. If this is challenging, stitch both layers of the collar together first and then pin them to the dress. I distribute the rest of the collar to the neckline and do that with both collar details. Then I make the seams. This is the altered dress. I happen to like it much better, and I hope you found some inspiration in this video to alter your own clothes and to improve their looks according to your own style. If you like this video, please hit the button below. For more tutorials like this, subscribe and follow us on social media.